So here is the vessel coming in. So obviously they were getting underway to sail out. They were heading southbound out into the lower bay, the Hudson Bay area, or upper New York Bay. Typically, when the ship sails, the crew will take positions up on the masts. They're not going to go out under sail. Number one, you can see where the wind is blowing with the large Mexican flag there. They were going to go out under power. You'll see right here, right next to it, that is the Charles McAllister right alongside. She is not appears to be hooked up at this time. Go ahead and let this play. Sorry for the language. It's New York. So a couple of things that notice here. Not only does she take out, so she's three masted. So all three masts, the mizzen mast, the aftermast, the main mast, which is the center mast, and then the foremast, all lose what's called their topmasts. And so those topmasts fell. Amazingly, I have to say this: the entire mast rig did not collapse. Those masts are connected together. Go ahead and let this play here a little bit more. Shows you those crew members up there. Now, the crew members will have safety harnesses on and they will be coupled into the mast. One of the things that's taking place right now are rescue operations because the masts have collapsed. Many of those crew members are literally just dangling from some of those rigs. So here are some of those crew members. You'll see them across the yards. So masts have the wooden posts going across. Those are yards, and on the yards you have the sails rigged underneath them, and all of them are strapped in. However, they are at this time done. So this is going to take a batch of high angle rescue to be able to get them out of that position. Image from just south of the Brooklyn Bridge. This is the initial moment of hit. So first thing you see there is this ship is rigged as I'm gonna I gotta go back into my ship rigs. I didn't have a chance. Usually I check these things before I come in. I think she's rigged as a bark. Her two forward masts have square sails on them, and then her aft sail here has a gaff mizzen sail on it. And you'll see the mizzen sail coming down here. That's the foremast going right there. And then you'll see, excuse me, that was the main mast going. This is the foremast going. Now, I have to say, we don't know if any of the crew members have come off those rigs into onto the ship or into the water. Hopefully, they're in. Again, amazing thing here is that the ship has been able to keep its entire rig intact. And one of the things that didn't happen was a complete collapse of all three masts. The ship was stopped before it hit the Manhattan Bridge. So this is the Brooklyn Bridge you're seeing right here. I'm gonna lower the volume here. My apologies. This is the Brooklyn Bridge right here, and then just upriver of it here is the Manhattan Bridge. So the ship right now is, I believe, anchored between the Brooklyn and the Manhattan Bridge. There are tugs and fireboats on scene. I'm gonna pull up marine traffic here in a second. And all right, let's go ahead over here to marine traffic. Give you a bigger view. There we go. So, real quick, give you the view. So, the ship started off. So, this is Lower Manhattan right here. Here's the financial district. This is where the Twin Towers were down here. This is the Battery. This is the East River right here. This is the Brooklyn Bridge, as you see right here. The ship was docked right here along the South Street Seaport. And we'll go back through a replay here. This is live right now on marine traffic. So here is the vessel. It came in with the image you saw. It was coming down here underneath the bridge. It, even though it's pointing as going eastward here, it's not. It came through backwards. And that's what gives me the impression that the ship lost its main propulsion. Either it couldn't engage the propeller or they lost the main propulsion. We know they had power on the ship because of the lights. So here you see tugs on scene, a batch of them: Laura Moran, Grace McAllister, Eric and Ellen McAllister there. Here's the FDNY command boat. Charles McAllister is right alongside, and then you have other FDNY and New York PD vessels on location. So real quick, this is the vessel in question. My Spanish is going to be terrible, and so I apologize here. Cuauhtémoc. I'm not sure if I got that right, so my apologies for my Spanish here. So again, built in 1982, she's part of 4 sister ships, and she is used by the Mexican Navy as a training vessel, and was up on a visit into New York. Okay, slow it down for you. So here is the vessel. She was up here again, South Street Seaport right here. So she was berthed up here for a visit into lower Manhattan. Give you a better view here. Well, there we go. Go ahead and let this roll here. I'm going to slow it down as we get a little bit closer. So there's Charles McAllister right here. This is the tug that was on scene with the vessel to help get the vessel off the berth. Now, obviously, as you see, the ship can't pass under the Brooklyn Bridge because of the height of the mast. One of the reasons why the Brooklyn Navy Yard was basically phased out was because of the bridge elements here. So ship comes off the berth and into the stream here. Now, there's a current running through the East River. Obviously, the current here was heading northward or northeastward. So this is Manhattan here. This is over in Brooklyn. This is the Brooklyn Bridge. Here is Manhattan Bridge right here. So ship comes out here at about 2.2 knots. Charles McAllister was not attached. We saw that in the very first video that it was not attached. Then the vessel all of a sudden loses power, and you can see it kind of begins to take off here. Now it's going to be pointing as like it's heading toward the bridge. That's just because of the heading indicator. It's because of the speed that's indicated here. She's actually going stern first through. I'm going to go ahead and move it up here a little bit so you can see it a little better. So that is her coming under the bridge here at this point. The ship will lose those masts, get hit, come in here. She actually grounds and hits right here off the coast, right along that area where we saw it ground. She'll pivot off there. You'll see the vessel pivot, then comes off here. And this is where you start seeing the very quick response here of vessels coming to the emergency distress of the vessel. So we see a lot of vessels coming in, always the fear that there could be people in the water, that also because the ship touched bottom, she could begin to sink. And now we see the very fast response. Here comes FDNY's New York's Bravest coming in, other boats coming in. There's the command boat, New York Police Department on scene. And you get a very kind of fast, rapid response. Obviously, I've got this sped up here quite a bit so that you'll see it happen here as it goes. All right, sailing vessel 1982 was built, 1,600 tons, length overall 90 meters. So doing rough math, that's roughly around 300 feet long. So about a 300-foot vessel. Obviously, the masts are quite tall. You'll see at least, I think it's like 5 or 6 sets of sails on each of the masts here. So here's some images, her in a little bit of a better condition. So you'll see those 4 sails on here. These are the sails, these kind of triangular sails right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sails on the foremast, 5 sails on the main mast, and then you still have some triangular sails, lateen sails. These are for sailing closer into the wind here. And then you have that gaff rig on the stern mast here on the mizzen mast. I apologize. I'm more of a power sailor than a sailboat sailor. So I do have some knowledge. I've sailed on vessels before. So here she is. So a couple of things I just want to note right here real quick. So this is the stern of the vessel coming in. One of the things to note, there is no motor wash here. So right here in the stern, this area right here, if she had her propeller spinning, you would see wash. You would see basically propulsive power coming out. She does not have any power. Matter of fact, I would have a question here too. Not only are we not seeing propulsive power coming out, but she seems to be going back pretty strong. I'm going to wonder here that maybe it wasn't just losing power. Maybe she had her power in reverse and could not come out. I mean, because she does seem to be pushing along at a pretty good clip. And I think that would be another potential issue if her engine got stuck in reverse gear, which may be one of the issues here. She seems to be coming under a lot of propulsion here. I mean, this seems to be more than the current. The reason I say that, I'm going to come back here for a minute and show you, she's throwing out a wake here right now. So it seems as if the vessel may have been stuck in reverse. Now, that does happen with transmissions. It could potentially happen. You assume a diesel engine, they may not have been able to get it out, but she seems to be almost coming under full reverse power. All right, this image is going to give you a pretty graphic one here of the vessel coming in. Oh, they cut it short. But yeah, I think that the vessel uh, is coming in under power underneath there, which is much different. This is a Mexican naval ship, so many navies around the world have sail training vessels, which they take their cadets out on, junior members who are training to become officers. So the Mexican Navy has that. The United States Navy does not, but the U.S. Coast Guard has the Eagle, which is a former Nazi Germany ship. It's one of the things we got. All right, we talked about this before. Let me go on here. Again, if you have questions, please stick them in there. Just, type them in there in capitals so I can find it. Any idea why they would try to go under? They're not trying to go under. Believe me, the last thing they wanted to do was go under this bridge. This is not why they didn't do it. So interesting question here. Why didn't the tug act? So a couple of things about that. The tug obviously helped cast the vessel off. This ship does not have, for example, a bow thruster or the means to kind of really push off the dock. And so let me pull this video up here for you. Let's see if I can get this up here. There we go. Let's see if we can get that. I was trying to see if I can zoom in here a little bit. So here's the McAllister tug right here. You'll notice the tug does not have a line on. So when you're undocking and pulling a ship off, for those of you who don't know, I was a former merchant mariner. I sailed ships for a living. Matter of fact, right there in New York, I attended the State University of New York Maritime College. I've sailed under this bridge multiple times. That tug would have put a line onto the training ship, pulled it off the dock, and then the training ship would have used its ship's engines, and it would have head downriver out into the lower bay past the battery and head out. Obviously, the tug would cast off at a point, and they did. Now it appears, and looking at this video, the tug was trying to get up ahead of the vessel, trying to get up ahead of the vessel so that it could come alongside. But you have to get a line over, and not just a line, but a heavy line. And so it looks like the tug was getting into a position because it realized what was happening. And again, I come back to this a little bit more and more, that it looks like this tug was under power. See, why was the Mexican Navy ship in New York? That I am not 100% sure about. I think it was up for a festival docked at the South Street Seaport. I don't know what the event was. These do happen quite frequently. Why do you think they were going to? They don't think they were fitting under the bridge. The plan was not to go under the bridge. This is not a mistake. This is an accident. This is not a planned, going under the bridge. Again, I think that what we're seeing here is an issue. Let's see. Here you see some of those crew members hung up in the rigging. Now, I will tell you that right off the bat, the ship's crew is going to respond to this even before FDNY and other rescue personnel come on board. Having known people who worked on large three-masted riggers like this, and I've climbed these. I haven't sailed on one, but I've climbed the rigging of these type vessels. Crews become very familiar with that. They will start executing some rescues right off the bat. This is really dramatic. And again, I can't tell you how important it is that those masts did not collapse completely, and more important, go in the water, because if they were attached to the rigging and the rigging had fallen in the water, we would definitely have some potential drownings. But I would expect to have some pretty serious injuries here coming off this vessel, and set sail with School of Education. All right, listen, guys, I appreciate it. I apologize for not the most professional video in the world here, but trying to process this as I can. So appreciate it. Again, subscribe. What's going on with shipping over on YouTube? I have Twitter at Mercoglianos, MERCOGLIANOS, and I'm over at Bluesky at the same thing. So catch the video tomorrow. And again, thoughts and prayers with all the crew members there. Hopefully everybody is safe, and this accident did not result in a fatality. All right, Sal, signing off. All right, so here she was. She came up from Cancun up into New York City.